I think we can all probably agree that Southampton aren't very good this season. They are most likely going to be getting relegated, probably finishing bottom of the Premier League, and possibly even breaking Derby County's record for being the worst ever Premier League point scoring side. And I've decided, as a Southampton fan, I want to try and remedy that. So, with an updated database, we're going to take charge of Southampton for potentially up to 10 seasons, maybe just 5 seasons. We will see how things go, and we will, number 1, keep them in the Premier League. Number 2, start climbing the table. And number 3, hopefully get into Europe. I don't want to be winning the Premier League. I think that's unrealistic in 5-10 seasons, but getting into Europa League, maybe pushing for Champions League qualification spots might be a possibility. So obviously, with this being an updated database, you can see we have spent £108 million and brought in £192 million. We've sold Lavia, we've sold Livramento, we've sold Ward-Prowse, all in this season's budget technically, but it was kind of last season. There are some players that did leave recently in real life, but you know what's happened. We've obviously got an updated squad as well, so your players like your Ramsdales are in the team. Harwood Bellis is in on a permanent deal. We've got Flynn Downs, Brereton Diaz, Wood has joined Archer, Edwards. You know the deal, they're all kind of now in the squad. And even though we've got £20 million transfer budget to spend, I'm not convinced I want to do anything in the first transfer window. I want to try and keep this as realistic-ish as possible and play with the current squad that they have in the Premier League. What I might do is actually just get rid of some more players, which might make my life slightly harder, might make it easier, who knows. So this is apparently the first team squad according to the game. We have 4 goalkeepers. We don't have an injury on Gavin Bazunu, which is quite handy in a way. It's also a bit cheaty. We are obviously going to be playing Ramsdale as our number 1. From a defender position, we have lots and lots of right backs and left backs and not too many centre backs. These are our centre back options. Harwood Bellis, Bella Kotchap, Bednarek and Stevens, and that is it. Yes, Charlie Taylor can play as a centre-back if we need him to. Don't think that's a good idea. We've got Bree and Sugawara who can play on the right along with Walker-Peters. We've got Taylor who can play on the left along with Manning. And then, as we move into midfield, Lallana, Smallbone, Downs, Brereton Diaz technically is a midfielder. Ryan Fraser, I don't know why we've got him. Maxwell Cornet, I don't know why we've got him. Aribo, Sulemana, Armstrong, Amoa, that's kind of our midfield and wingers. And then we've got Onuachu, Archer and Ross Stewart. If we take a look at our reserves as well, we've also got some half-decent players in there. We'll sort by ability. So Larios is there, Okachukwu, Fernandez, Edwards and Wood and Dibbling probably should all be moved up into the first team as well, which actually does bolster our defensive options because now all of a sudden we've got Wood and Edwards. So centre-backs, we are looking a little bit nicer. Okay, I was worried that we might need to kind of break our rule and maybe try and sign a centre-back in over the summer transfer window. We're not going to do that. I think we are going to try and stick with this squad for the most part. I'm probably going to try and sell maybe Aribo, maybe get rid of Fraser as well, maybe send back Okachukwu and Cornet, maybe get rid of Ross Stewart if we can do that as well. There might be lots of business or very little business going on. So let's jump forward then to the end of the first transfer window to see what we've done. Nothing. We've done absolutely no transfer business, so we have left it with exactly the same squad that started the save. However, we have loaned out a whole bunch of players, but most of these, in fact, I think all of these are young players, bar 1 or 2. So who have we got who's been loaned out who's actually half decent? I think O'Brien Whitmarsh is good in real life, but for some reason in the game not that great. Same with Boot. I think he's also pretty good in real life, but he's gone out on loan. Armitage, another one who I think is good in real life. He has gone out on loan. And Ronnie Edwards has gone out on loan to Hull because I didn't think we would get too much game time out of Edwards with Wood and Edwards. So Edwards was the one that had some interest, so he's the one that's gone out on loan. And that actually just 20 years of age in this save. I know real life he's a year older. He's still young, got plenty of time. A season playing in the Championship for Hull could be very useful for him. And that's it. That is all the business we have done. And this is the formation that I am going to play. Because I'm there thinking, you know what? Let's try and prove Russell Martin wrong. That we can play a tiki-taka formation, and we can play a stupid tiki-taka formation, and we can succeed. And we're going to go with a 5-2-3-1 tiki-taka formation. We're locking in just one player, which is Mateus Fernandez. We're locking him in because basically he can't really play this role just yet, but we are making sure that he is training there and playing there as well. He should be perfectly fine to play that roaming playmaker position, so I'm not kind of too fussed about that. And this is what we're going to go for, maybe up until January. If things don't go to plan, we might need to change things up. However, things are going to plan, sort of. We have beaten Crystal Palace, Jack Stevens with the goal. We've beaten Brighton 3-1, Armstrong with a brace and Fernandez. And we've then just lost against Aston Villa, Lallana scoring. And we've been knocked out of the Carabao Cup. And we played a full-strength side. I'm worried. I'm genuinely worried that this might have been the start of the downfall. We started really well, new manager bounce and all that jazz, and now we're just going to slip. We're going to stick with this formation. We've got a very tough September ahead of us with Leicester, Chelsea, Arsenal, Man United, and then Liverpool as well as moving into October. I feel like we've just got a bad run of fixtures, which is certainly not going to help, because we've also got Tottenham and then Man City. I feel like we might pick up 3 points in the next 3 months. We are going to come back from holiday on the 1st of January. Going to see how things are going, and yeah, let's just hope we can keep this up. So far, it started quite well. I'm not convinced. I feel like we're just going to fall over in a second. So at midnight on New Year's Day in 2024 in the past, yeah, I was kind of right. Wasn't I? We did manage to beat Tottenham somehow with 2 penalties scored by Ryan Manning and 2 goals scored by Ben Brereton Diaz. And that's pretty much it. A 0-0 draw against Bournemouth. 3 draws in September is actually a pretty decent result, I think. If you said at the start of that you'd pick up 4 points, I'd go, that's fine. A win and a draw, I will take that, certainly. But yeah, 4 draws, that's not too bad. And yeah, we've just stopped scoring goals. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 matches where we did not score any goals. We got battered 5-0 by Brighton as well. I feel like I'm not sure whether this is the formation or the players. I feel like the formation is certainly playing a part. So we're going to look at doing a bit of tinkering through January to see maybe what we can go with. We've got 4 games to play in January. We've also got a transfer window, and I'm thinking we might be able to do some transfer business this time around. And we do have a little bit more money to spend, not a huge amount. I think some sell-ons and various things like that kind of cashed in over the last few months. So we've got £22.6 million to spend. Let's see what we can do, and also let's see whether we can find ourselves a decent formation to play towards the end of the season. Hold on, do the board like me? It's a D, it's an E from the fans. Are we going to get sacked? Are we going to get sacked? Oh, don't get sacked. This is going to be awful if we get sacked in season 1. The transfer window has now closed, and we are 19th place in the table. We have kind of turned things around. We haven't at all, have we? But we have beaten Leicester 2-0. We've tried 2 different formations. The first one was a 4-3-3, DM wide. It didn't work. We lost against Palace, we lost against Luton, and we lost against Aston Villa. And then we moved to a 4-2-4 gegenpress formation, which is a formation that I use. It's straight out of the box, not downloaded or anything like that. It's a formation that I have used in previous saves, and it seems to do the job. And we have beaten Leicester 2-0 thanks to Ross Stewart and Paul Onuachu. 2 strikers up front might be the reason why we've started scoring some more goals. We have also done some transfer business. James Bree has gone out on loan to Luton, returning to the club that Southampton brought him from. We've also sold Will Armitage to Stoke, a player that I called out in the first part of this video that I think he could be quite good, but Stoke basically offered me some money and I went, you know what, we'll take it. It's not a lot. It's about $500,000, I think, in total, once you include all the sell-ons. Or 250,000. It's still better than nothing. He was never going to play for us. And we've also sold Alex McCarthy, the 34-year-old England international. Not really, he's got 1 cap. He's moved over to Hellas Verona for very little money, £125,000 with a bit of an intermediary fee as well. Basically, he was our 3rd, maybe 4th choice goalkeeper behind, obviously, we've got Ramsdale, we've got Bazunu, we've got Lumley, we've got McCarthy. We needed to get rid of one, and he was the oldest and on one of the higher wages. So yeah, McCarthy has taken the hit. We brought in 2 players. Technically, we didn't do this one. This one was pre-arranged in real life. It is Wellington, the 22-year-old Brazilian left-back. He is signing from Sporting on a free transfer once his contract expires. I'm not sure whether he's any good. I might look at loaning him out possibly in the summer because I don't think he's going to get too much game time unless maybe we need a left-back all of a sudden. And the one player that we did sign is Dejan Lujbicic, might be his name, I'm not quite sure. The 26-year-old Austrian footballer who can play in every position bar in goal has joined for £8.5 million, formerly of Köln, formerly of Rapid in his native Austria. I think Lujbicic, still not sure if that's right at all. I think he's a good player, mentally and physically very good. Technically, not as good, but we are Southampton and we are relegation fodder right now. I'm hoping this is going to be enough to shore up the kind of the team. Notice I didn't go mad and buy lots and lots of players because I feel like the squad that we have isn't awful. And I feel like the change in formation might be the thing that kind of ticks us over into kind of starting to improve and climb up the table. We just need to climb up 2-3 places. That is it. And hopefully get ourselves away from that relegation zone. We are locking in Paul Onuachu as a pressing forward for the final parts of the season. He's come into the starting 11 I say he has come in. He's played once off the bench and scored, and I went, let's do it. Let's just go for it. Onuachu's a good player. Played really well for Genk. Played really well for Midtjylland in real life. Also for, who was it? He was out on loan in Turkey last season. In real life, played really well there as well. So we're going to give Onuachu a chance up front. And the league table looks like this. So 3 points will be enough to move us out of the relegation zone on goal difference, assuming Everton and Wolves both lose their games. There is 6 teams in this relegation scrap. Brighton weirdly rooted to the bottom of the table. I do not understand how that's happening. If we can get out of the relegation zone, we've got half a season to do it, or just under half a season to do it. I feel like we should be able to. The board are still not happy with me. The supporters still not happy with me. The board as well, by the way, moaned about Sulemana and told me to drop him. Little did they know he was off for the African Cup of Nations, and I had no choice but to drop him, and we have obviously done that. So, let's jump forward then to the end of the season. We've got a difficult February coming up. In fact, a very difficult February coming up. I think we've got a chance. We've got a chance. We can beat Fulham. We can beat Everton. We can beat Brentford. We can beat Wolves. We can beat Forest. We should be able to beat Bournemouth, maybe. Let's take that one out. Should be able to beat Ipswich. So what's that? 3, 6, 9, 12, 18, 21 points. If we can get 21 points, that will be enough to put us on. Not enough. 38. That might be enough. That might be enough to save us. Let's go forward to the end of the season, see how well we have done with the Southampton team, and have we managed to stay in the Premier League? I'm not sure how my maths was that accurate, but we have finished on exactly 38 points. We've moved up to 15th place in the league. We have not been relegated. Interestingly, Wolves, Ipswich and Everton have been relegated. Brighton, who were rooted to the bottom of the table, have clawed their way out of that relegation positions. Leicester have had an awful end to the season, but have managed to avoid it as well, basically because all the bottom 3, Everton, Ipswich and Wolves, all lost in their final game of the season, although Wolves looked like they may have been relegated for quite a while. How did we manage to survive then? So obviously, this is where we changed the formation to the 4-2-4. We managed to beat Leicester. We then drew with Chelsea. That's not a good month. We kind of expected that to not be a good month. But then all of a sudden, March was amazing. Beating Fulham, drawing with Spurs, beating Man City with an 89th minute Ross Stewart winner. That's something that I don't think will ever happen in a Saints shirt. Beating Everton, Onuachu on the score sheet there, so that is his 4th goal of the season by the looks of it at that point. Draw with Brentford, not ideal, but beating Wolves, losing to Forest and West Ham. I thought we might be able to beat Bournemouth, and we did. Onuachu once again, Brereton Diaz scoring the winning goal in the 49th minute, and then we also beat Ipswich thanks to a Ryan Manning penalty in the 69th minute. And that means we have managed to stay in the Premier League, and almost certainly the formation change has helped. If we have a look at the squad, look at goals scored. So Armstrong's there with 6. Oh, he's not a top scorer. Brereton Diaz is there on 9 goals. No penalties. 9 goals in all competitions. Adam Armstrong with 6 in all competitions. 5 of them in the Premier League. Ross Stewart scoring 5 as well in just 7 starts. Manning, all of his were surely penalties. They were 5 penalties scored out of 6. And Onuachu also finishing on 5 goals in 13 starts. We've got a goal scoring problem. That's almost certainly an issue. How did we do actually? I didn't really pay too much attention to this, but when it comes to conceding goals, we've got a negative 21 goal difference. We let in 59. What does that mean? It's not good, but it's also not awful. It's certainly not the worst in the league. I will call this out now. For some reason, we didn't get a youth intake. I don't know why. I'm assuming because of the edited database, it meant that we didn't get one in Season 1, but we should get one in Season 2. We had absolutely nobody come through, which is kind of annoying, but there we are. We are going to head into Season 2 then in the next video, or if you're watching the big compilation one, in the next part. We've got nearly £50 million to spend. We've still got, I would say, a rather bloated squad as well. We've got quite a few defenders in the squad, if we actually sort by that, because I kind of sort my training out a little bit. We do need to do a lot of strengthening. I think we need to do a lot of strengthening. We've got some decent young players. We've got some decent older players. We've got some absolute garbage in the squad as well. So, over the summer, lots of transfer business will hopefully take place, making this side better. And for Season 2, I'm hoping to finish, let's say, 15th and above. Okay, we want to see an improvement year on year. And maybe Season 5 is when we start getting kind of into Europe. That would be ideal.